Hello, and welcome to the Subscast, the content creator podcast, where I interview people from the games industry and all sorts of content creations. And this week we have a music producer, Judzilla Music. How are you doing, mate?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you, Stubbs. Thank you very much for the invite. It's awesome to be here and looking forward to the chat, mate.
No, I've been thinking about doing it for a while because I remember when I reached out to you like a while ago, like, no, you don't want me, you want someone else.
Yeah.
And you were trying to put me off, you were.
You want someone interesting. That's what I was saying, I think.
No, I'm sure it'd be good. Oh wow, Popart, welcome. How you doing, mate? I hope you're doing well. The indie gamer, welcome, and Masuku, I think I've seen. Yeah, Masuku. Anyway, how are you doing today?
Yeah, good. I've had quite a busy day, clearing up stuff, doing house stuff, played some music, played some games, just tried to relax a little bit, nice chill weekend, see the family tomorrow. So, yeah, pretty good to be honest with you.
Good to hear. Good to hear. So we'll start off in the gaming. So how did you get into gaming? What was your earliest memories like? What was your what was your first gaming experience? Would you say?
Wow, that's an interesting one. So, probably the one I can remember best is probably round my auntie and uncle's house. We were visiting, and they had a games console. I call it a games console. It's like nothing like an Xbox or PlayStation. It was this Tandy thing, and it had like games built in. That you press a switch and and it changed to the different game. It was pretty basic, but we played that, and I was like, oh wow, this is just amazing. It's like magic. Being quite old, it goes back quite a way, and then after that, it was like, oh, we need to get something ourselves. So we got an Atari 2600, Commodore 64, then the Amiga and the Atari ST, all the way
Nice.
through. Yeah, just basically got each one when it came out that we could, saving up money and pooling Christmas money, and me and my brother basically. So yeah, it's an awesome hobby, and it's something I don't think you should ever be ashamed about. When people say, "Oh, it's for kids," and people are too old. Just do what you enjoy
Yeah,
doing.
the
you know.
stereotype used to be like that, but now the average gamer, they reckon, proper gamer is like 30 upwards. They reckon.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
ones that actually spend the real money? That's what they
Oh,
reckon.
absolutely, yeah. And it's funny actually because when you think about it, all of us guys that are around our age, we've sort of grown up with it. And if people haven't grown up with it, because I've got some friends that are like, I don't know why you play video games. I'm like, well, I don't know why you sit and watch Netflix for 6 hours a night.
Yeah,
So
exactly. Yeah,
it's what takes you
it's
out
just
of
the same. It's
your
just the
day.
same thing.
Yeah.
Some people just sit there playing on Facebook all night or Twitter, or in them stupid Twitter spaces, rather than play
Oh,
games.
yeah. I've not been in one of them. I don't think I want to be, to be honest. They
I
look like
actually
a
have.
cesspit.
It was only Matt. It was Mav and Caitlin hosted one. And I had a bit of a chat in there,
All
but
right.
that was the nice one. That was.
Yeah, I was going to say that sounds like it'd be a pretty good one to join, actually.
Yeah. Welcome, Matt Barnes. Well, good to see you. Welcome back from the dead, and back from the dead's driving. So don't type anymore. Don't want to cause a crash. But no, but yeah, some good gaming history there. What would you say was your favourite console, as in retro wise, when you were growing up?
Yeah, there's so many. I mean, that's a tricky one as well.
It is a tricky one. It is.
It really is
Or a
so many to
couple.
pick from.
D-
Yeah, I'll pick a
Or a
couple, I
couple. Yeah.
think. Yeah. I would say probably it would have to go to the Atari 2600. That's one of the retro, the early ones that sort of imprinted that passion of playing games and like, oh wow, this is happening on the TV. It's like science fiction.
Yeah.
So that's definitely one. And then a bit later on, one I've always had in my heart, which I think a lot of people have, is Dreamcast, of course.
Yes,
Um,
they do. A lot of people
oh,
do.
that was just
Yeah, it's a
such a
good one.
fantastic console. Yeah,
I'm
had
gonna
tons
try
of
and
stuff
pick
on
one
that.
up at some point. I am.
Yeah, I mean, I know they were talking at one point about there's talk about different companies joining together and bringing it back, or the Xbox Dreamcast type thing at one point, that they could play Dreamcast
What's
games on the Xbox
interesting is
360.
I'll tell you something interesting about that
Mm.
because I know a lot of Sega guys, as in people that are in the community. Sega. I know some lads that do the Sega guys podcast, and people actually release new games for the Sega Dreamcast, and they get it to people so they can play it.
That's amazing, isn't it?
But you
There's
didn't know
definitely a
that, did you?
community.
There's mods. There's a lot of people buy mods. It's like I've got a Sega Mega Drive original Mark II, but
Right.
I've got a cart in it. And it's got SD cards in it. And it's got every Mega Drive game and every Master System game. I don't feel bad. They've made their money now. I don't. But you can
Yeah.
buy all of that. You can buy a version for the Dreamcast, all of it, all in one. You can.
And that's a good thing, isn't it? About, when you talk about the current generation of games and the stuff we're doing on the current consoles and, the 3080 PCs, but there's still a massive community for this older stuff, the retro gaming and the older consoles. I think that's brilliant. It speaks to how much passion people have for gaming. So, more power to them.
Oh, it's true. I mean, you can pick a Dreamcast up. I know Indy's offered me it for £1,000, but sorry to tell you, Indy, you can pick up a good Dreamcast for about 80, 200 quid. You can. And I know he
Offering
was
for
kidding.
81, Indy.
But yeah, no. How old are you roughly, Judzilla? Because you sound. I don't remember playing the Atari when I was growing up.
Are you saying I
You
sound really old?
Well, it's when you said it's Atari. You must be a little bit older than me.
Yeah, I'm 48, believe it or not.
What? Oh right, sorry. I didn't realise you. Okay, sorry.
All right, unless it sounded like that. Sound like I'm 2 steps away from the grave.
No, you're not. You're not.
Hey, Mr.
I
Boomstick's
just thought you were.
51, and he, so I've got a
He
couple of
is.
years on him.
You're fine.
Ancient,
But no,
thanks, Cindy.
I actually thought you were like my age because I'm like 36. When you started saying Atari, I was like, I'm not sure now. But no, it's
Yeah.
all good. It is all good, Atari. Something I've never tried, but I have heard loads of stories about the Atari. I have.
Well, I'll tell you what, I kind of gave it away when I talked about that Tandy console. And I remember the days, me and my brother, this is a good memory talking about gaming memories. We used to go swimming. We were learning to swim. And every week, my mum and dad used to take us swimming at the local baths. And they had a sit down tabletop. I think it was either Asteroids or Missile Command, one of those. And that's like a really old arcade game. Those things go for mega money nowadays. It was just amazing. We got out the pool and we're like, can we play on this? Can we have 10p to put in this machine and play for half an hour? So we kept our parents at the swimming pool while we were playing on that. So I go back away.
Oh, that's a good story. I imagine that if you had one of them, it would go for mega money. That would.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think you can get stuff like that in. I've seen some stuff on eBay, some of the older arcade cabinets as well. They're really expensive, and that one, because it was a sit down one, they stopped doing them after they introduced them, probably because of the cost. But yeah, I think they'd be going for like 10 grand or more.
Oh, I can imagine because the retro stuff at the minute is very expensive. Even the games are. It's the problem is a lot of the retro collectors are artificially raising the prices of all the games.
Yeah.
I've heard stories of people I know people that tried to sell their game and having people message them on eBay saying, "You sure you want to sell that for that price?" And they're on bullying them to put the price of the game up. They're trying to artificially make all the retro games expensive. They are.
Yeah.
It's sad. It is.
Doesn't surprise me.
Retro is fun though. It is. It is fun because you got to know where you come from. It's like my son. He has actually tried my Mega Drive and he's played Sonic 1, the original, the best one, and he liked it. And he wasn't bothered by the graphics, which surprised me because he only plays Roblox really.
Right.
So there's not much.
Yeah, it's the people like I say like us, but I'm sure there's some older people in the chat that will remember the times. I mean, my brother, he got a ZX Spectrum. He was doing some programming. That's how I started as developing.
I played one
of them.
I've been on one of them before. I have.
And he had some games on there. Some of the old classics. And it was the days when you couldn't pause it. You couldn't pause the game, and you couldn't save it. So my dad got him from work. He's like, "Oh, and I watch the news," and we're like, "Yeah, but we're halfway through," and they're like, "I don't care, turn it off when I watch the news." So we couldn't pause it. Like, oh no!
How much progress did you just lose? Like,
yeah, all of it every time. It was our own fault. We should have timed it a little bit better, but it's what it is.
It is, yeah. It's like when that stuff came out about Return or how you couldn't save it, and
Mm.
my mate from the Sega guys goes, "Well, it's like gaming in the 80s and 90s. There was no
Yeah,
saving."
exactly. Yeah, that's when gaming was tough.
It was. I mean, the Commodore 64 was good because I had
Oh
one. I
yeah.
don't know. I got given one by my uncle or something, and I played a game called Mr. Angry, and I really liked it. So it's cassette tapes. It was all on cassette tapes. It was.
Indy lost his virginity to the Commodore 64. That's an interesting confession. I think we should have put a not
That
safe for
really
work
is
tag on
interesting,
this.
Indy.
Yeah.
Well, I might note that down because I might have the indie game on Stubscast for a solo edition, and this may have to come up.
Yeah. Oh, there's some cracking games on that. I mean, I've said before, my favorite Commodore 64 game, and I think it was a Commodore 64. I'm going to make myself look like a pillock now, but it was Gribbly's Day Out, if you remember that.
Okay,
That was
I
awesome.
don't
And
know.
Paradroid was another one. Oh, just beautiful fun. Beautiful.
That's good to hear. That is. It's what would you say? Have you got what is like when you think back on all the games you've played from? I don't mean modern. What would you
Mm.
say you enjoyed the most, or could you pinpoint a couple of games that your favourites, or one, or if you were to say the ultimate favourite game from the retro days, what would you say it was?
I tell you what, you just give me the easy questions. I just narrow down all the games into one. I tell you what, though, I will do this because I've got a particular memory. Right, you're gonna love this.
Okay.
It's not particularly a retro game back that long ago, but when I was at university, I used to play in the arcades.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
so I used to get the train in and play in the arcades, and then come home again and not do my course. um, that's not true. Maybe anyway. So yeah, I remember I played the first Mortal Kombat in the arcades, and I was loving it. I was just like, oh my god, this is
Nice.
like nothing else.
Yeah.
And then one Saturday, I got a call from a brother. He'd gone into Manchester, and he said,
Okay.
"You need to get on the train, mate." I said, "Why?" He said, "Mortal Kombat 2's just come out in the arcades." I'm like, "You're joking." So I got on the train and went to Manchester to play Mortal Kombat 2 in the arcades. So
Oh,
I would
that's
probably
a
say
really
that
good
one.
memory. That is.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
it's
that's
just
really good memory.
fantastic.
That is.
Yeah, those are the days you used to
That
put
would
the
never happen.
50p
That
on
would
the
never
thing.
happen nowadays, would you?
Oh no, no. Well,
No.
that stuff's all gone now, isn't it? Really.
Yeah, it kind of has. Yeah, but no, that's a really really fun memory. That is. So here's another one I ask a lot of people. It doesn't have to be your favorite console, but what was your favorite controller you ever used? Because often people say a completely different controller from what their actual favorite console was used to be.
Yeah, it's. I mean, none of the PlayStation controllers. Sorry, PlayStation Nation. I mean, I do play everything. I've got everything,
Yeah,
but the
yeah.
PlayStation controllers, I've just like a lot of people. They're too small, and the
I've had problems with that recently trying to play Spider Man on a PS4
yeah,
controller, and
yeah.
my wrists keep hurting. I don't, and people say, "Oh no," and I've asked a few more people, and apparently a lot of people have problems with it. It's
I
apparently
have
something to do with
problems
the
with it.
thumbsticks, where the thumbsticks are positioned.
Yeah, because
And I
they're in
thought
line,
it was
aren't they? They're
weird.
not offset.
But on the Xbox controller, I have no issues. I know I'm used to it, but I just thought it was strange. Maybe it's the design or something.
I
I don't
think they
know.
did a lot on ergonomics, Microsoft, when they were designing it. They did so much
Yeah.
work on ergonomics to make it comfortable. So, but I've told you the answer to a question you didn't ask, which was what controller wouldn't I pick? So I
Oh,
would
there we
say,
go.
yeah, bringing it back to the
Yeah.
actual question, I would say probably the best controller I tried until recently, because I'm just going to be boring at the end of this. But the best one was the Xbox 360. When that first came out, we had the Duke back in the day on the original Xbox, and then the 360 one came out. It's like, wow, this thing feels awesome. So that's probably my favorite one that changed the game for me. But I would say the Elite Series 2, which I use today, that's got to be my favorite. It's just beautiful. I know that's a really boring answer, but there you go.
Oh, that's fair enough. I mean, because I remember when, excuse me, I remember when the 360 was out, obviously, and then when it went into the Xbox One gen, I was like, I shouldn't have to rebuy a controller because I didn't know they're going to change the controller,
Yeah.
and I thought, well, 360 is perfection.
Yeah.
the controller. I thought, why change it? And then when I
But
finally tried the Xbox One controller, it was good. It was.
I will give a shout out though to the Dreamcast controller, which had the little memory card with the LCD screen on it. You could put in and play games
Yes.
on that. That's an honourable mention. That thing was really cool, but not as good as the Elite Series 2, I'm afraid.
I wouldn't know. I'm not part of the rich elite crew.
Yeah, well, that's being older. It allows you to do that sort of thing, I guess.
Yes, fair play. No, it's I have heard a lot about them. A lot of people say if you can afford one, they are not very nice. But I
Yeah,
will give the Xbox Elite, not Elite, Xbox Series controllers. They are very nice. They feel a lot more fluid, and it's small, very small improvements have made a big difference. Because I went back
yeah.
and forward and tried an Xbox One controller, then tried the Series, and there is a difference. I couldn't technically tell you what the difference is, but they've done something to the controller. It feels a lot better. It does.
Well, I think you've got in the chat, Pope has just said he's got too many Elite controllers, so I think he'll probably, he twist his arm. If he's got
Yes,
too
Pope.
many,
Happily send me one if you want. Signed by
yeah,
the Pope.
there you go. There you go.
I
The
wish.
series
I
control is
doubt.
good.
Joking,
I think,
Pope.
yeah, I think the other thing they did with the series controller and now the update on the Elites is the firmware. So the latency's improved a hell of a lot, and you
That's
can
it.
tell as well.
That's probably it. That is because a lot of people like to, if you're that hardcore into these shooters, most people left their wires plugged in. I don't think they do anymore.
No,
Because they say there's a bit of latency, but I think it's to the point where they don't plug them in anymore.
I think it's about as good as it's going to get with, we're up to 60 frames, 120 frames per second on a lot of games now. And the low
Exactly.
latency on the controllers are just, fantastic. So, yeah, very cool.
They are. They've made a good improvement. They have to what they've done. But all we need now is a load of cool custom design controllers, officially brought out, made by the Pope
There you
from
go.
Xbox. But
Absolutely.
we might get it one day. He's got some cool designs though. The Needler's a good one. Have you seen that one, Pope
Oh,
made?
yes.
It was that Halo one. It's beautiful. That is.
Yeah, I think like most people on the internet in general, it's like how, I mean, I don't know, how come they've not hired the Pope officially, moved to Redmond, design
I do
controllers and
believe though.
consoles.
I do believe the Pope. He's he used the term hired, but I think if he's working with them, he's mentioned bits and bobs online. He
Yeah,
has. He's got approval, but we haven't seen one of these awesome designs yet coming out. But I'm sure we will eventually.
there you
We
go.
will
Do design
eventually.
for Xbox.
There you go. Yeah, I didn't know if I worded it correctly, or I didn't. So he does work for Xbox. There you go. He does design for secretly.
Secretly.
But yes, no, it's a good choice there with the 360 than the Elite controller. So yeah, so with music production,
Hmm.
when did you first start to dabble in music production? Did you like do any courses? I done it was a waste of time, but I did a Sitting Guilds 1 and 2 in sound engineering, and I done an MVQ course before that. Waste of time because I didn't do anything with it, but but did you do anything like that to get into music, or you had got any musical backgrounds that made you want to make songs?
No. Well, funnily enough, it's not a waste of time, Stubbs, because what you've just told me is that when I finish the song and it needs mixing in production, I can just send it to you, and I don't need to do
No
that
good.
anymore, right? So,
My audio now. Indie Gamer helps me improve my audio. I forgot
oh,
everything. I'm terrible. I am.
I'll leave it
We're
then. No
talking
offense.
15, 20 years ago. We are.
Yeah. No, I actually started playing keyboards. My dad always had a keyboard knocking around. I started playing that when I was a kid. And then when I got to about
Nice.
14 or so, I picked up an old, actually, my dad bought me a car boot sale acoustic guitar and I started learning the guitar. And then just over the years, I've taught myself obviously keyboard. I taught myself how to play the drums, how to play the guitar. Played in a few bands, heavy to thrash metal bands, which might surprise some
Nice,
people
really.
given my music. Yeah,
That
but
does
yeah, I've
surprise
never
me,
done anything
actually. Yeah.
official. Yeah, we did. I was in quite a few actually. We were quite close to getting a record deal at one point. And that's a completely different story, which I might go into at some point. But yeah, we played quite a few big clubs around the place, and it was always good fun. But started doing software development instead because we didn't make it big. So, but I've never had any
It's
like official training or stuff. No.
okay, fair enough. I mean, it's hard to make it big because I had one of my dad's friends was a musician,
Mm.
and he was big mates with Kasabian, and he
All
actually
right.
toured with. He did actually tour. It's called Jersey Bud. I don't know if you've heard of him. He wasn't massive, but he released an album and a few singles, and he went around America touring with various different people. But
Ah,
he made enough to make a good living out of it. But I think he's a plumber now. I think he still does music, but it's more of a side gig rather than his actual full time living. Do you know what I
yeah.
mean? It's one in a million to become one of them big top,
Oh
bands
yeah.
where you can make an actual living out of it.
There's a lot of
But no,
frustrated musicians, doing everyday sort of jobs.
there will be. It's
Indy wants me to
there's a
tell
lot.
this story. Do you want me to tell this story
You can
about how
tell
we
the
missed out?
story if you would like.
Well, I'm here for the chat, so I might as well. It's not a particularly interesting story, but we'd done a demo tape. The band I was in at the time, and we'd done like a 4-song EP demo, and we sent it away to a few record companies, independent labels, and stuff like that. And one guy came to watch us play, and he's like, "Oh, you guys are pretty cool. What I want to do is get you up to the studio. You can record a full EP of what you've got, and we'll release it. And then if everything goes okay, then you'll be signed up, officially." So, oh, this is awesome. We're going to be rock stars. Um, so we went up to the recording studios up in Newcastle. Had a night out in Newcastle and got absolutely leathered, which probably wasn't the best idea. So we hung over the next day. But
Yeah.
then when we arrived at the studio, this guy arrived and we're like, "You're not the promoter guy that we'd spoken to." He goes, "Yeah, he's had a heart attack and he's in hospital."
Oh
I'm like,
no.
"Oh my God, that's unbelievable. That really is he going to be okay?" And he said, "Yeah, he's going to be okay, but he can't come in and do the recording with you guys." And we said, "Oh no, that's terrible." So he listened to the music and went, "Yeah, I don't really hear what he hears. So thanks for coming." So if the original guy would have been okay, we'd probably been signed up, but because someone else listened to it, he didn't like it. So we got thrown away. It's a real shame, but
Wow, look, guys. If that guy hadn't had an heart attack, Judzilla might not be here now. Might be an international rock star.
there you go. Yeah. Actually, I'll probably be dead from alcohol abuse and things if I made it as a rock star.
That's probably right. Yeah,
So,
it's part of the rock and roll lifestyle: drugs and drink. It is.
exactly. Yeah. So it's probably good
Pope
idea I
Art
didn't.
saying my hometown is Newcastle. He said.
Yes, it certainly is. And if I remember correctly, Pope's of a certain age as well. So he might remember there was a club in Newcastle. Though it's
He
not
probably he
Steam's,
probably heard you.
yeah, you never know. I'm trying to think of this. There was a really famous sort of. They did a rock and metal night on Friday and Saturdays, and I've completely forgotten the name of it. Let me think of it, Pope. I'll think of it, mate, and let you know.
He's Geordie. Yeah, you're definitely Geordie, mate. I enjoyed having you on when you were on the Stubbs class last. That was very good conversation. That was. But no, that story was very interesting.
Yeah, it's
Very
funny how things
surprising,
work out.
actually. It
Yeah,
is. Had you not had a heart attack, you could be international globetrotter. You never know.
yeah, you never know, but yeah, these things happen. So I just get to work in software development instead, which is far less interesting.
I bet it is interesting.
Well, I do quite a lot of travel as well. Well, before COVID, so one year I did like 26 different flights, around the world. So
There we go.
I guess I still
Globetrotter.
got around. Yeah,
Globetrotter.
but just not playing music.
No, exactly. But no, so what actually made you dabble in actually trying to make some music?
Yeah, it's a good question actually because
I
I've
mean,
got
as in like kind of on your channel the stuff you make
yeah,
now, rather than the band stuff you talked about. I meant
yeah, no, that's
electronic music. I mean, whatever you.
yeah,
There's so many variations of names now. What is it called? I mean, I used to listen to trance music, but now they say, oh, it's called EDM, electronic
yeah.
dance music, but it's the same bloody thing.
I yeah, I can't keep up with it, to be honest with you, mate. But it's funny actually because I've like I said, I've been playing music since I was a kid, and I've always had a guitar knocking around. Pick one up and sing some songs and play around, or play the keyboard or whatever. And then one day, this is
Yeah,
this is a God's honest truth. Okay, one day I was sat, um, I was writing something on this keyboard, and I thought, this is pretty good. It's for me, it's pretty good, right? And I thought I've got quite a lot of music actually that's either been recorded or just sitting around. So I thought, I
okay,
wonder
yeah,
what I could do with that. Well, probably nothing, but I could create a YouTube channel, and then when I die, my relatives will be able to have some remembrance of like, oh yeah, there's some music you did, because no one's heard it. That's the other thing. I don't go round my relatives' house and go, here, listen to this. It's all just previously just been for me. So I thought, when I'm gone, there'll be something left, and I can annoy people in the future who stumble across the channel. So yeah, that was kind of the idea at first, and then it really grew because speaking to different people, including Indy, with different ideas. I like to
yeah,
do different things with the music. So there's some dance stuff, there's some sort of orchestral stuff, there's some theme stuff, and then there's songs that I've written, I've had for years, which I've not recorded, and I've been working with female vocalists off Fiverr. So I work with them
yeah.
and write an entire song, and they do the vocals for it, and I put them up.
So
So I
how
like
does
to
that work then?
really.
Do you just tell them what you want to do and then you pay them, or how's that process work when you work with vocalists?
Yeah, it's actually pretty neat, to be honest. So what I do, I create most of the song
Okay,
unmixed. So like, there
okay,
might be piano and drums and bass and guitar and
yeah,
strings or whatever it is on there. And then I
yeah.
have to sing the song, believe it or not. So
Oh,
I
you
sing the
do?
song. Yes, I sing the
Oh,
song.
okay.
Yeah, I contact
We
a
need the
vocalist on
edited. We
there.
need the cut of this. We need
No,
it.
you don't. No one needs that. I'm not that cruel to inflict that on the internet and people's
Oh no.
ears. But so I record the vocals myself because a lot of
Okay,
the people on Fiverr say, I need to know how you want it to sound. So I record that
okay,
and send it over to them, and go, right, can you record this with your awesome vocals, and send me just the vocal track, and then I mix that into the music, and mix it all together. That's how it tends to work. And you get a couple of revisions, so they'll come back and I might not like something, or there's a bit of a glitch in the vocal. I say, can you redo this piece? And then off you go. You pay for it at the end, and everything's good. So it works pretty well, to be honest with you.
that's good to hear. Is it? Does it vary on vocalists as to how much it costs, or is it? Because I can't imagine it's cheap. Or are these like just people that a lot of these people just starting out looking for a bit of experience? A lot of them on
You'd be
Fiverr, or they
surprised. Yeah, you'd be surprised, Stubbs. There's some award-winning people on Fiverr,
really?
believe it or not.
Okay,
Yeah, there's some
didn't
people
know
that
that.
cost a
Oh,
massive amount of money. Huge amounts. £200 to do 3 minutes, or 60 seconds of vocals. £200. The ones I tend to use are the ones that sound good to me, but obviously are
yeah.
within a budget. Um, so I picked a couple of female vocalists that I work with now, and then basically say, right, okay, can you do this? Are you interested? They hear the song and they don't, turn it down and say it sounds awful. I'll do it.
Okay.
And I
Why
think it's
do do
roughly
so?
around 50 quid per song.
Okay. Do just another thing to ask you. You mentioned that
Mm.
if a said vocalist doesn't like your song, do they just tell you, "I'm not interested. I'm not interested," or would they just do it anyway? Or would it
uh,
depend on who they are and what they?
you know what? I'm not sure. I mean, I've been lucky whether they've either been polite, or they've needed the work, or they actually like the song. Um, so the last one I did, Legacy, I worked with
Okay.
a
Yeah.
lady. God, I've forgotten her name. Kylie, funnily enough, not the Aussie. So I worked
Oh.
with her, and I had an idea, and I sort of contacted her. I said, "Listen, this is the idea I've got. What do you think?" and she said, "That sounds great. You know, I'd love to hear what you got." Because I tried to in the songs with vocals in, I tried to tell a story of what's going on in the song. There's always some meaning behind it. You have to work it out yourself because I don't generally tell everyone what the lyrics mean. Um,
Okay.
and then
Yeah.
she said, "Yeah, I've heard the demo piece. It sounds great. I'm going to love doing this." And so you kind of have to take their word for it, or yeah, they're doing it because they want to get paid. I don't know,
It's
but
true. Like
with her,
Andy said,
I've
it's a
got a good
job
relationship.
stubs. Yeah. But no, that's really good to hear. That is
Yeah,
just interesting. I didn't realise five was such a big site in that way. I didn't.
it's
So
huge.
I've never really looked into it. I haven't, to be honest.
Yeah, you can
I've had
get.
I had a quick flick through it, but I haven't really got involved with it.
There's lots of things on Fiverr which surprise me actually because part of music production, I'm not brilliant at the mixing and production and the mastering of the music and getting it all to sit in the correct EQ band and things like that. And everything,
Yeah.
it's a dark art. It really is. The composition's tricky enough, but then when you have to mix it all, so there are people on Fiverr that are like recording engineers and have worked on albums. There's singers, there's musicians. You can go and say, "I need a bass line. Can you play this?" If you can't play the bass. Um, but there's all other stuff as well, like logo designers and website stuff. It's a massive site, so I found it pretty good, to be honest.
Nice. That's interesting. I mean, talking about mix downs when I was at college doing it. This is back in the days when they actually, I don't know, if do music producers still put songs through proper studio mixing desks? Yeah, no, do they?
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah, we used all that, and they always used to say they used to be these Yamaha speakers, and they used to say that you got to have crap speakers because when you're mastering it, you need to know that it's going to work on a top end
yeah,
speaker setup and a crap radio.
yeah.
Apparently, because they always reckon you're supposed to get like not the best speakers, so you can tell like a low end speaker. That's what they say. I don't know if that's true.
Well,
Because you,
sorry, mate, go on.
no, no, you can go on. You know
No,
more than me. You know.
well, I was just going to say it is because I've got I'm pointing at them on a podcast that you can't see me pointing, but
Yeah.
I've got some studio monitors which are really nice quality. So when I'm putting things through them, it sounds amazing. I've got good headphones to pick up things. But then when I take it downstairs and play it on something else, it's like, wow, that sounds shocking. I need to go back and fix something there. So, it's always really important to make sure you're mixing and mastering for pretty much anything that it comes out of. Something with no bottom end, for example, or something that's really
Yeah.
tinny. You still want to get a nice medium. It's really difficult.
No, I can imagine because we used to do it, and we had a couple of bands in, and we did mix stuff down, but it probably wasn't the best. But we were still learning. We were.
Yeah.
Indy Masuku saying, "Is it those '80s Yamaha NS 100? It was a Yamaha something, but I don't know. I can envision the picture of what it looked like. A little black speaker, Yamaha written on us. That doesn't really help. That doesn't. I
I
do
think
know
they've
that
made a few.
they probably made a load more since then. 15, 20 years has gone by, but yeah, it's interesting that is. Um,
I'll tell
so
you some of those stubs. If
yep,
people do want to hear me sing on the song Legacy, Kylie
okay.
sings the main vocal and the harmony, and I sing a sort of another harmony bouncing off it. So if you listen to
Oh,
the song
you're in it.
Legacy, that's me. Yeah, the male voice in
Oh,
that is me, and the awesome
oh.
guitar lead as well. I'll have to claim that one because that's lovely. But yeah, so if people are desperate to have their ears offended, they can go and listen to Legacy and listen to me in the background.
They're rushing to the channel after. They'll be rushing there.
Yeah, I'm
They
sure.
will be saying, "This is Judzilla. We never knew."
This is awful. Find another singer. That's what I'll be saying.
So, what made you want to obviously make some covers or inspiration to say you've done Gears, you've done Halo? What made you want to make them kind of songs?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. I mean, obviously, the stuff I started with is just like stuff that come into my head, and
Okay.
what I tended to do because it's music on YouTube as well, just as part of the answer to this. It's
Yeah.
really difficult to make a video that's interesting for someone to watch when you've just got music playing. So depending on
I
what the
agree with
music is
that.
trying to do, yeah, I take sort of
Yeah.
stock clips and try and build a story of what the song is kind of about, if you see what I mean. And that's easier when there's
Yeah.
vocals going on. So if you watch Legacy again,
I
um,
will now after this.
yeah, you
Yes.
haven't already. That's disgraceful. Um,
I have. I have. Don't worry.
yeah, no, that one tells a story uh, from a little girl growing up, and you just have to make your own interpretation. But that's what the video clips are showing as she goes through life. Essentially, it's all to do with time. Anyway, um, what's the question again? I've forgotten the original question. I've been rambling like India. Oh yeah, it was about doing the Halo and what made me do those things. So what I love doing is being challenged on different styles. So sometimes I'll tweet out, do you want to hear some EDM or do you want to hear some classical or some heavy metal or whatever it is? Um,
Yeah. Okay.
get about 6 votes, but I'll get something in. So one of the tunes, it's got like a Middle Eastern Asian sort of sound to it, like Egypt. Can't
Yeah.
remember what that's called now. Mystery, that's what it's called. Um, and then speaking with Indy, because he had the idea of doing the copyright free stuff, which was
Oh
a
yeah.
fantastic idea.
I think I remember that
Yeah,
conversation in a Discord server once, a while
yeah,
ages ago.
that's right. And I thought it's a really cool idea, not just to do different things because you're not writing for yourself anymore. You're writing for something that might be used in another project. So that's a nice challenge as well. And then the gaming stuff, I love gaming music. It's something that's really underrated. If you think of the different orchestras, if you watch any of the making of videos like Halo or Uncharted or anything like that, they've got these massive, great big orchestras, and the music is absolutely fantastic. So I thought, hold on, I've got a passion for gaming. I like to do um, sort of music that sounds like it could be in a game, and that's where the first Hellblades tune came from, which is Senua's Dream, I called it. Um,
Oh yeah.
and I was trying to each of those. There's 3 in that series actually: the Hellblade, Senua's Dream, Senua's Nightmare, and Senua Awake. And what I tried to do in those 3 was again tell the story of what's going on in Senua's head, because she's got psychosis and stuff like that. Um, through the music and the vocals, there's a female and a male vocal and a choir, and they all play the parts. If you played the game where she's listening to hearing voices in her head and stuff like that, I was trying to do that, and it would be a massive explanation to walk you through each one of those songs. But if you listen to them in order, it's telling a story of where she's asleep and dreaming, then she has a nightmare, then she wakes up and realizes that, oh, everything is how I remembered it. And anyway, so that's the idea behind that. And Paul in the chat, can I do any country and/or Western? You know what? That's one genre I've never tried, and that would be a challenge. So
There you
why
go.
not?
You could
Why
give it.
not?
There you go.
Yeah.
But no, that's a
Oh,
good. It's a good explanation. That is it. So, and welcome, Cerebral Paul. Thanks for stopping in.
yeah. I like asking people for suggestions. Because and one of the things I've said previously is like if I know you've used some of the music, and Daz
Yeah.
has as well, and obviously retro
Renegades, I
renegades
think they
guys.
do. Yeah.
Yeah, this is fantastic, and it's just so nice to be able to give something away and say, look, if you like it, go and use it. If you don't like that one, there's other styles on the channel, and if you don't find anything you like, shoot me a DM and say, here's a song I've heard. Can you do something like that? And again, that's a nice challenge because it's challenging what I would normally do when I sit down at a guitar or piano. It's like, okay, this is what I would normally do, and it breaks you out of that. So if someone says, can you do a song, an Egyptian soundtrack or something that sounds like it's in a Halo game or Gears, they're challenging because you're trying to make it authentic without copying exactly what's going on. So
Exactly.
that
I mean,
that's tricky.
I would
But
say
good fun.
suggest Gears, but you've already done Gears, so I can't say that to you. You've already
Well,
tried. So
Hellblade was a trilogy, so I may do some more in the Gears series, make it a trilogy like my Hellblade music. So you never know, mate. You never know.
you never know. Yeah. Welcome, Invader Gaming. Thanks for stopping in. So, have you got any future projects you want to do on your channel, and where would you like to see your channel go in the future?
That's a that's an amazing question. An amazing question. It's funny, I mean, I speak with Indy quite a lot. He's a real big supporter, and I appreciate everybody that comes to the channel and just listens to something. Like I said, there's something in there, hopefully, for everybody. If there isn't, just ask me and I'll write you something. That's how I tend to be. As far as feature project, I'd love to do some more gaming music. So I was looking at doing maybe Ghost of Tsushima, that again, the Asian style with the different Asian
Yeah.
instruments. And that would be fantastic. But I joke about this a lot because and when I'm streaming with Indy, he's like, go and subscribe to Juz. He needs 100 subscribers so we can name the channel and stuff like that.
No,
And I've
this is
never,
true. 100 subs
yeah,
gets you that custom URL, and it helps,
the custom URL,
especially
exactly.
especially on your Twitter. It fits in. People can see it if they can.
Yeah, they say, where can people find you? I'm like, you can find me at youtube.com, AZ6987, whatever it is,
Yes,
Um,
exactly.
so feature projects, yeah, more gaming stuff, I think, more stuff at a theme, more stuff I haven't tried before, more stuff that challenges me. Paul said in the chat he'd like some tunes for the stream screens. Let's talk. Absolutely. And the other thing is as well, there's royalty-free music on the channel, which, it's okay. Some people use it and some people like it. But if there isn't, and you want something specific, I'll write it for you. I'm not charging to write music, even if it's bespoke music that's only for you. I'll write that for you and you can have it. I'm not in this for money. And the channel to get to 100 would be amazing. 67 at the minute, and that blows my mind. Honestly, the 67 people are at least subscribed. They may not listen all the time or whatever, might listen to one song, but you put 67 people in a room, that's a lot of people. If it was just one person that fed back on the channel, this is great, I love this song, thanks for doing it, or this cheered me up, or this relaxed me, stuff like that, that's fantastic. And that's why you should be doing any kind of a YouTube or sort of vocation in life. If you got a passion for it and you're doing it for the right reasons, it's so much easier.
Oh, that's great to hear. That is. I'm just looking at your channel now,
Mm.
and Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 Senua's Dream full version is your biggest video on your channel. It hit 1.2 thousand views. I bet that was
Yes.
crazy, surreal for you to see that.
Yeah, it just honestly, it's so humbling. People talk about, oh, I've not hit 50,000 subs or 100,000. I'm at 67. That just is crazy. And then seeing that many people that have listened to it, or at least found it and listened to it and went, that's rubbish, I'm going to move on. It's amazing. And again, that's one of Indy's. I think it was a retweet he did that picked up a lot of steam on Twitter. And again, I'm grateful for everybody that shares and listens. It's fantastic. But yeah, seeing that one point whatever thousand, the rest have got like 60, 70, 80 views, which again,
Yeah,
I'm
I
really
bet that
grateful
was
for.
like wow. It was
Yeah,
like
it
because
blows my mind, Stubbs, honestly, that people
you
even
don't
listen.
expect it.
No, no, you don't. And when you get that feedback, it drives you on to do more and improve yourself and always be doing something better than you did last time.
That's exactly
Hey, and Paul
that's exactly
subscribed.
true.
I'm at
Oh, you can
68.
see, can you? That's it, 68. You got a new subscriber, Paul. And
Thank
why
you very
weren't you
much, my
subscribed
friend.
before?
I appreciate that, mate. Thank you so much for subscribing. That's brilliant.
But no, it's good to hear that you want to expand out and try new music genres, even make people's theme songs and anything really. I mean, I thought that was quite nice. You said, "I will write someone's song. You don't have to give them any money," which is nice because it does
Yeah,
take you time to do, even though you're not like it ain't your job, obviously, but you are a busy guy. You are as well. So
yeah.
I suppose you
It's a,
like the challenge more than anything.
absolutely, yeah. I mean, for me, it's a whole process. So, I know people on your interviews before talked about how they do their videos and the tools and stuff they use. And prior to getting to the video stage where you're creating the video, I mean, my videos are pretty straightforward. They still take a bit of time depending on what I'm doing. Um, but then you have the whole composition piece, then the recording piece, then the mixing piece and production piece. Then you create the video at the end of that sort of
Yeah.
section. So some things take, I mean, Senua's Dream, actually, I wrote and recorded that entire thing in 6 hours.
Nice. That's not
'Cause-
bad going for a song.
yeah,
That's
yeah. And
the
some
problem
can
is it's
take
like
a lot
a
longer.
question to ask. A question to ask you.
Yeah.
Obviously, because I used to do music and I used to be really involved in reading all the interviews in DJ Mag
Right.
and like things like that. Obviously, when you keep hearing a song over and over and over, and it's your song, how can you not hate it as well? It's like over and over. Is that right? Do you know what I mean?
Yes. Yes, it is. And
Because you like it, but you keep hearing it and hearing it
yeah,
and hearing it. You do.
it's a challenge, honestly, because there's, I won't say which ones, but there's some songs or songs slash music on the channel which I can't listen to because I'm like I'm sick to death of it. I can't listen to that. I either don't like it so much. The latest one on there actually that's copyright free is called Bright, and I put it on the channel. It's literally like a throwaway thing I did. I really didn't like it, and Indy spotted it and he
Okay.
said, "Have you just put a new song up?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "Why have you not tweeted it out?" I said, "Well, it's a bit cack, you know. I'm not
Oh,
I'm not that
okay.
impressed by it." And so he tweeted it out, and I think it's got probably one of the songs that's got the most likes on it. So it's weird. But yeah, the editing piece is the worst. So you've obviously recording all the different instruments, and sometimes if I'm doing a complicated song, there could be, you know, 10, 12, 15 different instruments, and then the timing is really critical. So if you miss the timing, you have to edit things and move things around. Yeah, it's time consuming, and it can sort of make you hate the song. But the worst thing is if you release it and there's a timing issue in the song and you heard it. Yes, Mexico, it's the synth song. The Bright is the latest one. That's the one. I think you like that as
Just
well.
intervene on that with the
Yeah.
process. What we talking? Cubase, Ableton, Pro Tools, Fruity
I
Loops. What we
use
talking?
Studio One
Sauce
5 Professional.
Studio 1.5 Professional.
Yeah.
That's new on me. That one. It's probably established. I've not heard of that one
Yeah.
before.
Yeah. It's I wouldn't say it's old, but it's one of the newer kids on the block, I would say.
Ah, okay. That's probably why
Um,
I've never heard of it.
yeah.
Yes.
It's fantastic though. It really is a great piece of software. The amount of stuff you can do in it now, they're up to version 5.4. And that is an awesome piece of studio software. Really good quality as well. Other than that, as
That's
far
good
as
to hear.
kit, I've got several guitars, acoustic and electric. I've got a
Nice.
full size MIDI keyboard, and
Oh
then
yeah, I used to use
microphone and
them.
stuff like that.
I remember them. The MIDI
Yeah,
keyboards. Remember that.
yeah. And all the intelligence really these days is in the software. The keyboard, it's quite an expensive keyboard, but it's because of the quality of the actual action on the keys. It feels like a piano.
Oh,
That's where the
nice.
money goes. Yeah.
No, that's interesting. It's quite an interesting chat, and the chat seems to be quite interested in it because it's what we're talking about now is music production, nothing to do with gaming at the minute. So it's nice people are interested. It is.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've got quite a broad range of interests, you know, gaming, music, you know, computers. I'm happy to talk about anything. If people have got questions, weighted keys, Indy. Yes, you're absolutely correct. Um, yeah, I'm happy to talk wherever we go, mate. As long as people are interested in listening to my nonsense, it's all good fun.
It's not nonsense. You got to give yourself more credit. But no, it's good. The music is. I mean, I obviously when I do make a video, I know I said I was going to keep to 1 week a video. Doing a video once a week. I've already broken that off. So I
Yeah.
will make another one at some point, and I'll improve on the last video. But no, so you obviously do you want to talk anything about anything to do with your engineering job or not? Because I know you're an engineer, and when people like when you go on indie gamers podcasts, you talk like obviously because you're an engineer, you work for a big company.
Mm.
You understand more of the big like basically how like a gaming studio works, but you come at an angle because you understand more of the whole process. And I know you don't work at a game studio, but it's kind of the same level. Big companies, how they work,
Yeah.
you come for that angle where you understand a bit more what goes into it than the average gamer, if you get what I mean. You offer
Yeah.
a different perspective, which I like. You do.
Yeah, I can talk. I can talk around the software engineering job I do. Obviously, I won't talk about the company and stuff.
I'm not going
But
to ask you to say that. No way.
what I would say is it's one of the biggest companies in the world. It's an American company, and everyone would know it. I work in a Microsoft stack, so that's Visual Studio, SQL Server, web as well as mobile development. And obviously, I've done
Okay,
some work
nice.
on the HoloLens, so augmented reality,
Oh, nice.
yeah, iPad stuff, and also been for the past year or so been using Azure backend. So
Oh,
that's fascinating.
nice.
That whole Azure piece is incredible. So yeah, there's a lot of parallels because a lot of games are written in Visual Studio, and I've done
Okay.
some
Oh,
some
okay.
gaming development as well with Unity engine, which uses you can use Visual Studio for that as well, and it uses a common language called C#.net.
I've
If
heard
people
of
know
that.
that, yeah.
That's about it. Yeah.
um, so yeah, there's all sorts. When you're writing the software we write, it's global. We write lots of different things, but the software's global. And like I said, I've been around the world doing this, and that's one of the reasons because we deploy it everywhere and on different platforms. So when people are talking about, oh, we need to build for the Xbox One and the One S and the Series S and the X and the PC,
That's
yeah,
nothing. That's nothing.
I get all that though. It's a lot easier these days because of the way they allow you to build and configure and have targets. So each of those platforms will be a
Okay.
target you compile your source code down to. Um, it's never 100% straightforward. I don't want to oversimplify it. Get kicked in the
No.
backside by these game devs.
Is it
But
right? You get one little bit of code wrong, it messes everything up. Is that right? That's what I hear.
it can be,
One little line of numbers can
yeah.
mess things up. That's what I
Yeah,
hear.
and that's where your QA comes in, and you apply that to gaming when you think of branching narratives. So think of a game like Mass Effect, where choices that
Yeah.
you make
Okay.
actually affect what goes on in the game. And if you haven't covered, it's called code coverage. So you're testing every
Okay.
line of code and every choice, and a lot of it's automated these days. We use a lot of automated tools which runs tests against the code blocks. So it runs a test, and if it passes, then it gets a green tick. If it fails, you have to go and fix it. But when you're talking about hundreds of thousands of lines of code, it's not practical to have a human go and test every single scenario. It's the same with
No.
gaming, you know. So, but to answer Meisuko's question, we do have a question from the chat, which is awesome. What are my favorite musicians? Well, that is a very interesting question, Meisuko, because I tend to approach music like not a case of, oh, I just listen to this, I just listen to that. It's much like gaming. I'll play anything on any platform. I don't care. I'm having fun, get on and play it. So, favorite musicians. Well, there's a couple that really stick out, and these are going back to the olden days. So, James Hetfield and Kirk Hammett from Metallica, absolutely. They are amazing musicians. Steve Vai, one of the classic guitarists. Paul Gilbert is another amazing guitarist. You may not have heard of him. Where did he play in? But pretty much anyone that does something a little bit different as well. I mean, the Metallica stuff is going back to my youth a little bit, and I play a lot of their music myself. But there's so many new musicians coming out now. They're adding 8, 9 strings on a guitar, and different techniques with the strumming and the tapping and all that stuff. It's fantastic. So anyone that does something a little bit different, but I would say those 3 stick out in my mind. They're absolutely amazing. And actually, Dave Mustaine from Megadeth, when he was writing all his best music, he was always high. He was always on something, and that's when Megadeth did their best music. So he was actually a really good singer-songwriter as well. So there's a couple for you.
There you go. Never heard of them. I haven't. You can tell I've always listened to dance music. You see, trance and house and drum and bass and happy hardcore rave and all that kind of music. I don't
Yeah.
listen to a lot of these guitar. I call it musicians and bands. I'm not really. I've never really been into them. Really, I haven't.
Right. I'll tell you what. I'll
I was
tweet
more
out some Paul Gilbert or some Steve Vai, Yngwie Malmsteen,
I
Ozzy
have to write the.
Osbourne.
I have got Spotify, so I can actually
Yeah,
try them out.
I'll find you a couple of good picks, mate. There's some
Okay.
the stuff they do on those guitars. It really defies belief, honestly.
I can imagine it. It doesn't. It looks difficult. I don't know how they do it. Just masters they are.
Years and years of practice, and of course, Steve Vai played on the Halo soundtrack. And if you
Did
knew
he?
that, oh
No.
yes, oh yes, he was actually a friend. I think he was a friend of one of the guys in the studio, and he wasn't supposed to do the guitar piece.
Wasn't it? Okay.
No, one of the guys that was working in the studio that was doing producing the music said, "Well, I know Steve Vai," and it wasn't officially sanctioned by Microsoft, I don't think, but they got him in to do it, and everyone's like, "Okay, we need to keep this guy in here and get it done." So yeah, pretty interesting.
That is interesting. I didn't know that. Which Halo was that on?
I think that was Halo 2, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a very. In fact, on my channel, there's a lady. Oh, Indy will kill me for this. My memory with names. There's a lady that does singing in the stairwell on YouTube. I don't know if you've seen her, but she did the Halo theme tune. You know, the chanting. A load of people had asked her to do it, and then when she did it, everyone was like, you know, women can't do that. It should be men. I'm like, oh, for crying out loud, you know,
Really?
get over yourself. So I
Well,
took
back
that.
then I couldn't imagine that happened. Yeah.
Well, this is actually
Yeah.
it was I think it was last year she put it
Oh,
up.
okay. Okay.
But I took that piece of singing she did and I put it into my studio and then added the rest of the Halo music around it. It's only a short clip, it's like 30 seconds. Um, and I tweeted back out saying, you know, it's something positive. I really loved what you did. I thought I'd add this. I hope you like it. And she replied, she's like, yes, it's fantastic. So that's on the channel somewhere, and I can't remember her name, which is really annoying.
Indy's looking it
But,
up now. If he doesn't know it, you'll soon see the name appear in the chat.
yeah,
You will.
yeah, she's awesome though. She's got this weird stair, well, not weird, but it's a really echoey stairwell in the apartment block she lives
Okay.
in the States, and she does all sorts like, you know, Disney uh princess songs or whatever. I don't know, Harry Potter, and then Halo, and that stuck out. And I thought, you know what, I'm
She's
just
some
going to
kind
add
of
this.
celebrity then.
Um, I don't know if she's a celebrity, but she's got a million billion followers. I'm not sure how many she's got, but she's really
I'm
popular.
just surprised then. Your video, the thing you made. Obviously, did you put that on your channel then?
I
Obviously,
did, I did,
because I
yeah.
thought if she would retweet it or say she liked it, you'd think with a big following they would have like clicked and watched it.
Well, they might have done and thought this is atrocious. Why did he do that? Halo in the Stairwell, it's called. It's got 106 views. It's a year ago. That's right. Lauren
Okay.
Paley is the lady on YouTube.
You found it then. You have.
Yeah, found something on my own channel, which is pretty strange for me. Yeah, so that was good fun. She did it on. I think she's put it out on TikTok. Um, yeah, nice little thing
That
to
probably
just do.
TikTok that probably blew up then. TikTok's where all the cool kids hang out.
Yeah, apparently so. I promised I would never get TikTok. I don't, you know, it's not for me. But yeah, she's got 4,000 Twitter followers. She's also got a YouTube channel
good.
as well. Yeah. How
Oh,
much
Indy's not impressed. You beat him to it.
665,000. Sorry, Indy.
Wow. You beat him to it. He's not impressed. He's found it now.
Yeah, that's a nice little thing to do. But her YouTube channel's got a ton of stuff on. Like I said, nearly 700,000 subs on there. So she's pretty big.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
definitely a
she
big
does some
number.
good
That
stuff.
is. But no, it's all good to hear. A good story that was.
Yeah.
As I say, it's obviously you're a very talented guy and a clever guy because you what you were talking about with your job is sounds like very brainy work. Have you? I mean, I hate to. Have you got a degree in computer science? Then I presume to be an
Yeah.
engineer. I
Yeah.
thought so.
I've got a couple.
That's you got a master's.
It's not a mass. I actually went to two universities. Did one
Oh,
after college. This one
nice,
did college, and I went to university, then a second university for postgraduate. So yeah,
nice.
it's like
So
anything though,
definitely
mate. To be honest,
brainy
it's
man.
well, yeah, I don't know about that, but it's like anything really in life. If you got a passion to do something or you got an interest, it's easier to learn. Like I've been trying to learn Italian, right? I want to learn Italian, but my brain
Okay.
won't let me do it, and I get frustrated. And I'm like, can't be bothered. But programming and stuff like that, I've really got an interest in that. So it's a lot easier to do that. Same as music, anything you're passionate about becomes easy to do.
Exactly. I mean, it's the one sector, computer scientists at Britain is trying to get kids into
Mm,
because nobody wants to be a computer programmer anymore. Because do you remember many years ago? I'm pretty sure that it wasn't it part of the many years. It wasn't it part of the syllabus. You done some form of programming years ago,
yeah,
like, and it's completely gone now. It has.
that's right. Yeah, we did
It's not a
programming on
job.
BBC Micros.
That's it. And
Yeah,
now they like in America they completely removed it from the system, and now they're saying we need programmers. We need programmers. Like for security, national security, and all them kind of. It's all the base. It's all in the computer science, and then you obviously expand upon it.
yeah,
I'm guessing you do.
yeah. That's it. I mean, when I started out, I mean, originally I remember at university doing machine language. That assembly code. I mean,
Yeah.
nowadays you can pick up or use software that writes code for you by dragging things onto a canvas, and it'll write the code behind the scenes, which is awesome because
Oh,
everybody wants things yesterday. So
yes.
speeding these things up with low code environments and visual programming, it's awesome. But back in the day, you actually had to do things in assembly language where you were addressing the hardware directly, rather than layers of interpreting code and stuff and compilers and things like that we get today. We write in English today on when we're actually writing code. Um, but yeah, the world's moving on so fast that it's all becoming one. So you think about things like AI and machine learning,
Yeah.
and you apply that to pretty much anything. Everyone's got an Alexa, and they can all do different things, um, and that's just going to grow and grow and grow. So it's going to be a massive part of the future with AI. AI is an incredibly interesting subject. But again, it's probably a different podcast.
Yeah, it probably is. Yeah, but yeah, don't get me started about them bloody Alexas. I don't like any of it. Don't like it. I think obviously, well, they're obvious. It's like back in 2013 when Connect came out, and everyone was terrified. Oh, the government's listening. Well, now they can listen whenever they want to your phone. I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
what are
exactly.
people worrying about?
Yeah,
Yeah.
if they listen to my
But I
conversation, they wouldn't be too interested. I can tell you.
no, it's not. Most people's conversations ain't interesting.
Yeah,
But it's like because obviously I seen that Connect back in 2013. I didn't realise that was actually an Xbox accessibility feature because it got brought up at the Xbox showcase, Xbox accessibility showcase, and I didn't realise that was obviously an accessibility feature back in 2013. I didn't know that.
yeah. I mean,
I learned something there. I did.
Connect actually lives on today. It lives on in
It
Azure.
does.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
that's some very cool stuff they're doing with that.
there is, and the American government are using it to spy on everyone with cameras in airports and all sorts.
Yep,
They are. It lives on. It's been
you're always on
spotted. People
camera
took.
somewhere.
You can't. Yeah, you are. Yeah, you. If you ever want to be watched, listen to or read or look up. Type Edward Snowden in, and they'll be looking at you. You know who he is, don't
I
you?
won't do that then. Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's
I
one
think
thing
he's
I
a
won't put into
genius.
Google.
I've listened to his audiobook and he freaks you out at the end. He says, "You do know because you listen to this book, they're probably watching you through the camera, see who you are."
There you go. See what you've done there.
But
Yeah.
yeah, but no, it's crazy that the world of programming. It's so vast. It's a growing industry. I
It's
imagine
growing. It's
only going to get
massive. Yeah.
it's only going to get bigger and bigger and bigger, as you say.
Well,
It
like
will.
Paul said in the chat there, did someone say accessibility? I was in Orlando in 2019 when we could fly, and I went to the Microsoft Ignite conference, which, if you know
Okay.
anything about that, it's enormous. Um, it's a full week. It's like kind of like E3 for software development. But Satya Nadella was
Okay.
there. We were in
See,
the
nice.
keynote with him. Yeah, not with him. I mean, I wasn't on stage giving him advice. I was in the audience. But they run all sorts of different workshops and lectures and things where you go and learn about the latest stuff on the Azure stack, or you learn about this is coming in for HoloLens 2.0. We tried that out. Some of the different things on HoloLens 2.0, which is really cool. Well, my company's not bought me one of those. I've only got the first one, which is disappointing. But talking about accessibility, this is really interesting because this was a huge subject, because I went with a colleague and we were talking on the plane about our software's, as good as it is, it needs to be for everybody, and we need to hit these accessibility standards. And there was a really, really good session all about accessibility and stuff Microsoft are doing in the development environment, which is absolutely amazing. And they showed us some of these different apps you can get as well, like it's called Seeing something. I'll have to look it up on my phone. But as an example, it's something that Seeing AI, it's called, I think. You basically take your iPhone and point it at something, and the AI recognizes what that is in the scene. So if you point it at two people talking, for example, it'll say, one woman talking to a brunette woman, laughing. There's a dog there, and it tells you everything that's in the scene, for sight and impaired and stuff like that. It's amazing.
That's
So
nice.
we took a lot of that stuff and a lot of the standards from the accessibility stuff and put it in our software. There's things like voice recognition. There's things like people that can't use a keyboard very easily, like the accessibility controller that Xbox does. So that's another massive area which needs more attention. I know Paul's done a lot on that, and it's been on the podcast as well. And that should continue to be pushed, to be honest with you, because everyone should have the same level of access to, whether it be a piece of software, whether it be a game. We need everyone. So Microsoft are pushing that very, very heavily in the business side as well as in the gaming side. So yeah, that's really interesting stuff.
That is very interesting. That is, and we are currently being raided on Twitch at the minute. Welcome, Mass Mayhem. Sit down, 2Game, Voicey. We've been raided on Twitch. We have 8 viewers on Twitch. We have at the minute.
Didn't know he was on Twitch. Hello,
Didn't you know
Twitch.
that? No, I stream on
No.
Twitch as well.
Ah, you're simultaneous. Love it.
Yeah, not many people know it's on Twitch. But I've got to do something with the channel because I don't stream games. So I don't know who's raided me. If it's Sit Down 2Game or it's Mass Mayhem. I don't know which one. But no, it's very interesting technology there, Judsilla. It's thanks, Sit Down 2Game. I appreciate that. It's very interesting because obviously you're talking about accessibility and as a charity, I think it's called I'm Able to Game, or
Right.
And there's actually courses. I probably got the name wrong, and there's courses developers can actually go on to find out what would be the best features that meets accessibility needs. There is some courses out there for developers, and I'll send you the link after. I can't think of the actual name. He's quite popular on Twitter. This guy's got 1 million followers, very popular, and he's big charity for gaming. Cerebral Paul would know. He'd say, I'm making myself sound stupid now, but he said that it's very popular, this course with developers. He said because they are getting more and more interested in providing accessibility features. It's becoming a big thing in gaming now, which is good to hear. Good to see. It is.
I mean, the way I think about it is, often things like that kind of go unnoticed because it doesn't affect you. So, why should you be interested, or why should you pay attention? Well, if everybody thinks of it as you're one accident away from being in a situation where you might need those features,
That's true.
You start thinking about it like that, okay, it starts to take on a bit more importance. So when we're developing software and we're running, tests through these things, it's always with an eye of, okay, so how someone that's visually impaired going to use this, or is colorblind? There's another one,
Yeah,
um, or can't use a keyboard particularly well. Maybe there's an opportunity to have voice recognition. So that's the way I tend to think of it. At any time, we're all lucky to be reasonably healthy, but you never know what's around the corner. You might need it. So that's a good attitude to have, I think.
it is. It is. I mean, look what happened to Daz. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, he does
yeah,
really well,
exactly.
and he's learned how to play with one hand now, isn't he? He has.
Yeah, it's staggering because
It
he's still
is.
better at racing games than I am, which is sickening, really.
He's the master. Daz is.
Yeah, he's
He's great.
unbelievable, and good on him.
But
Good
no,
on him for keeping fighting
fair.
on getting better and everything. That's brilliant.
Yeah, definitely. If you listen back to this, Daz, you're awesome. Keep fighting. He will, because he said to me, "I would listen, but I can't stay up late no more," which is understandable.
Yeah.
It is. It is. But no, it's I won't expand too much further on development because you could probably talk about it all day, and I don't know what to ask you. I
I'll
don't.
put this. I'll put the chat to sleep. Don't you worry about that, mate.
But no, thanks for coming on. It was interesting to find about your gaming history, how you make music, and
No
all to do with
problem.
content creation, and even a little bit of development,
Yeah,
which was
it's
good.
been
I
awesome.
think we've all learned something. We have.
Oh, thanks
But
very much for
yeah,
having me, my friend.
yeah. Thanks for coming on, Judzilla. And do you want to tell people where they can find you?
Yes, I certainly will. Firstly, thanks to everybody in the chat that turned up and everyone that listens afterwards. Really appreciate it. Been some good stuff going on in that chat and some good questions as well. So thank you very much for that. You can find me on Twitter at Judzilla UK, all one word. And my YouTube channel without a proper name is in the profile,
It
where I do
is.
music for different styles and you know copyright free. And like I said before, I didn't know if the Twitch people and you have come in, but I write custom stuff as well. If you want something, just hit me up, or send me ideas as well. Everybody, if they've got something they think might be a challenge, or I've heard this piece of music, can you do something like that? I love that sort of stuff because it challenges me to do something different and expand my range. So yeah, Twitter and YouTube. And thank you very much, everybody that's been on. You're awesome, and thanks again, Stuff, for the invite. Really appreciate it, mate.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming on. I do. It was a good chat. Yeah, there's 5 people watching on Twitch. That's the most I've had in ages. I don't know how you get people to listen on Twitch. I don't know, but anyone could hear it. But yeah, it's thanks for coming on. It's been a good conversation. The chat seems to have enjoyed it. Masuku, shout outs, Indy, Masuku, and Xbox Popart dropped in, and also we've had Cerebral Paul, Mass Mayhem, and Sit Down 2 Game. Thanks for the raid. Voicey, thanks for stopping in, everyone. A theme. No. Oh, okay. I'll say it. I will, because you can't see the Twitch feed.
I can't.
Mass Mayhem says a theme tune for Stubs in a poker style.
In a polka style.
Yeah, poker style. Poker. I don't know what it means. Polka style.
Oh, okay. So
Wait a minute.
Polka. Is that how he
Can you
spelled
see
it?
it now? Can you see it?
Polka. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks for that, Musky baby. That's a beautiful challenge and one I probably won't do.
But
Yeah,
anyway, thanks for
that'd be funny.
everyone for tuning in. It's been really good. And if you listen to this after the fact, please leave a comment if you enjoyed this show. And if you have an iPhone and you have an iTunes account and you'd like to leave the Stubscast a 5-star review on Apple, I'd really appreciate that. And share the show out and follow on all the podcast networks. Stubscast is basically everywhere. Anywhere you can get podcasts. Anyway, thanks everyone, and we will see you soon. Thanks
Thanks, guys.
everyone.